What's up, boys? What I have for you today is a new build order, this time for TvT, and it's a very fun one because this is a patch build. This is going to be a double gas build order. We're going to play 3 Reaper 2 Hellion into proxy 2 port Banshee. Now, in terms of difficulty, I would say that this is a master level build order, but if you're interested in playing this in Diamond, I think that's completely fine as well. As long as you're learning the game and having fun, that's what's important. So, I have asked my friend Honest Abe to help me with this video, so massive shout out to him. I really appreciate it. And I got this idea from Uthermals video. I'll put on screen now and also link that in the description. So, what we're doing here is we're going to play double gas. Now, I actually mess up the double gas a little bit, so I'm not actually going to go over exactly how to play double gas. In the future, I am going to make a standard TvT video on double gas. So, you know, you just make the gases, if you're in Diamond and maybe not worry about it. And later I will make a video on exactly how to play double gas. Because like I said, in this replay, I actually mess it up a little bit. And I don't want anything to be confusing for you guys. So, we're getting our depot. And in TvT, you do want to put the depot at the Reaper jump up cliff. It's not necessary to wall in TvT. And then as soon as you have 100 gas, you want to build your factory right here. Do not build your factory here because of like dune drops and stuff. So just a nice little SimCity tip. In TvT, you want to make sure that you're putting your factory right here. So we're going to rally and we're going to take a low ground expansion and we're going to send the first Reaper across the map. Now, something I really want to emphasize with this build and also just like cheeses in general, we're playing double gas, we're getting a natural command center. This isn't a one base all in. So by nature, it forces our opponent to have a high level of scouting. They need to have a more sophisticated level of game knowledge than just seeing a lack of an expansion and stuff like that, right? So, with that said, you always want to assume your opponent knows how to play the game, or at least for the most part. And with your first Reaper, you want to try to deny scouting. You always want to try to deny the scouting of the natural so they just don't know. And if they get the scouting, then that's completely fine, right? But what you don't want them to scout is a lack of a starport in your main, because we're going to be proxying 2 starports, right? So that's the first thing. We want to make sure that we try at least to meet the Reaper in the center of the map. And if we don't, then just send the Reaper into your opponent's natural. See if he's taking a natural. You still got to play it like it's a regular game. And because we're playing Reaper, we can do this. If you're playing Reaper Reactor, it's different, but for this build order, we're playing Reaper, and you can send the first Reaper across. So, I come up and I see a bunker. This means that it's Reaper Expand. You're not going to get this with a double gas opener. So, what this means is that if he sent his Reaper across the map, that's a good start for me, because my Reaper's about to finish, and I'm going to have 1 Reaper versus his Reaper, and I'm going to have 1 Reaper versus a Marine. So they shouldn't send the first Reaper across the map, and if they do, you should be able to win that if your micro is good, right? So I'm already expecting that there's going to be a Reaper at home. This is good. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where I don't want him to scout me. He doesn't know if I'm like one base all inning or anything. So now we're going to talk about when to send out the SCVs. So if you don't know, when you play double gas in TvT, you need a 3rd depot, right? Pretty early. And the SCV you build that with is your factory SCV. So this SCV will finish the factory, and then it should build a depot probably right here or right here, your choice. I actually end up building it in a weird spot because like my attention was being sucked up over here, and I needed to get the depot on time. So what you want to do is you want to queue up the car, and you want to go ahead and build a depot. And as soon as you build this 3rd depot, you want to send out 2 SCVs to a far away location. Like proxying here is fine. Proxying here is fine. Even like down here, like here, right? It's not very necessary to proxy it close, because what we're doing is we're going to get cloak and speed, and we don't want him to scout our starports, right? So we don't need to proxy it very close. With the speed, the Banshees will be pretty fast, right? Now, with that said, you can proxy it close if you want, but it's not something that you need to do at all. And your starport should go down before 310. So, I'm kind of guarding my SCVs. The Reaper Hellion should have maybe been even a little bit ahead of the SCVs, because you don't want your opponent to scout this. But I felt pretty confident because he was playing Reaper Expand this game. And then I'm going to throw down these 2 starports. Notice my resources, right? Now you might be wondering, if we're going 2 starport, what are we cutting? And the answer is we're going to end up cutting a Cyclone. Now, I don't think it's the first Cyclone, I think it's the second Cyclone. So we're going to go starports here before our add-ons. So we're going to go Tech Lab, and then we're going to go Reactor here. And we're going to queue up the first Cyclone, but we're going to cut the second Cyclone. And we do need a third gas. I could have made the third gas earlier. You want to make the third gas, basically, ideally the third gas finishes with your natural, so I could have made it faster. But this is fine too, although it's not ideal. So now let's talk about how to play double gas versus Reaper Expand. So what you want to do is, if you're playing hyper standard, you can actually cancel these Reapers if you see the bunker, right? If you see the bunker, you can just cancel these Reapers and the Hellion, because if they're good enough, they can defend this move. But with that said, even pro players will finish these the extra Reaper and the extra car and try to get some damage done, right? Because if you don't get any damage done, you are going to be behind economically, right? So it's kind of a choice. But what I would say is just stick with the 3 Reaper 2 Hellion no matter what. And if you want to experiment with that stuff, you can. So the way that you want to play this is you want to get your units here. And I come up. Why do I go up there? I was trying to gauge how many Marines were in the bunker. And I thought that there was only 1, which there actually is only 1, and there's a Reaper, right? So if this bunker was full of units, my Hellion would have taken a lot more damage a lot faster. Now, arguably, using the Hellion is wrong. I should use the Reaper because it heals. Minor thing, though. And I'm like, okay, there's not that many units in the bunker. I'm going to dive past the bunker. So I get my units together, I'm going to dive past the bunker, and I see 2 mules here. This is a mistake from Honest Abe. You should know about this move as the Reaper Expand player. And this depot is also wrong. You should put this depot in the wall because of this move as well. And actually, I think maybe you could put the depot here. Yeah, I think you can put the depot here, and that's very good. So instead of putting the depot here, you can put the depot here. So slight little things about playing Reaper Expand versus Terran. You need to keep in mind this move as, you know, the Reaper Expand player, and also as the double gas player, right? So we're going to get at least 1 mule here, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to kill some workers, and we're going to get some damage. So this is how you want to play against Reaper Expand. And I think you need to kill 3 or 4 workers to equalize the position. Because his natural was faster, so he's going to have more SCVs, right? So I think you need to kill 3 or 4 to equalize the position. And I'm actually going to get ahead here. So the micro is decent. I'm going to lose more units than I honestly should have. And I'm sitting here denying mining, right? Now, make sure that you get the tech labs as soon as you can, because you really want to make sure that these Banshees are coming out on time. Your whole build order revolves around it, so please make sure they're on time. Was mine on time? Let's have a look. So late, reasonable. But if these are like super late, that is a pretty substantial mistake. Even game losing, I would say. Now, I got my 3rd gas late. That's also a mistake. And like I said, I'm only making 1 Cyclone. Now, let's see. Did I cut the first Cyclone? Or did I cut the second? I just want to make sure I'm accurate here. So I should be able to afford the Cyclone. Yeah, so I can afford the Cyclone and the 2 tech labs right here. So you are going to cut the second Cyclone. Just making sure that that's correct. And I'm just denying mining here, which is really nice. I could have killed this SCV. Oh, I actually do. And make sure you don't get supply blocked. Make sure you get your depots. You need 1 depot at a time. And I recommend, even though I'm saying skip the second Cyclone, I do recommend that you make 2 Cyclones instead of Cyclone into tank, because the tank is 25 more gas. And that does matter because we're playing a really gas heavy style. And also, I think that the second Cyclone can give you a lot in the mid game if you're trying to like kite your opponent's army across the map. Because sometimes I feel like your opponents will just defend the Banshees, or maybe the Banshees come in and then they're like, well, I'm just going to all in now. And they might do that, and the Cyclone will help a lot against that, having a second Cyclone. Regardless of that, second tank is also fine, not a huge deal. And I leave with these units. Now notice how I grenade here, and I even get another hit off on the Marine. Now this is a little move, but Marines don't heal without medevacs, and I really want to try my best to deal all the damage possible because of the nature of the build I'm playing. I don't want him to move across the map. One of the things I really want to emphasize is that with this build, you do not want him to move across the map and kill you. That's the scare. So you want to use the Banshees to keep him at home, and you want to sort of try to take his APM, make him have less units because he's not paying attention, maybe not queuing up enough units, and maybe even dealing damage to Marines, right? So just these little moves are really nice. Not even if just like you're playing this style, but especially if you're playing this style. Now, what I would recommend for the Banshees is you're going to have two timings with the Banshees. You're going to have a 2 Banshee timing and a 4 Banshee timing. And I would say if he scouts the lack of a starport, or if he scouts your proxy, do the 2 Banshee timing. And if he doesn't, then do the 4 Banshee timing. Because as it stands, with all of the things that my opponent has seen this game, there's no reason for him to believe I'm doing anything strange. Everything looks standard from me. The Reaper Hellion is standard. He didn't see my natural or anything, but everything looks standard. There's nothing that would have tipped him off yet. So why am I going to reveal my play by revealing my first 2 Banshees, right? So, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But yeah, just make sure you get your 4th gas pretty early as well. Doesn't really have a specific timing, and just make sure you're queuing up depots. Now, with the Banshees, what Terran players normally do, and what they should do, is have their Cyclone and Raven on patrol over here. And this is because of Banshee, but it's because of Banshees that are coming from home, right? This 2-port Banshee stuff is very rare. So, with that in mind, they're going to have more stuff by the time a normal 2 Banshee timing hits. So if you do decide to go for the 2 Banshee timing here, you can just kill this Cyclone. See how it's right on the edge here? This is a target, and if you kill that first Cyclone, that's really good for you. And in this game, it would have made a world of difference, because Marines are not faster than Banshees, even if the Banshees don't have Hyperflight Rotors, which is the speed upgrade. And, you know, killing the Banshee is massive. I'll kill this SCV, I'll kill more stuff. So if I kill that Cyclone, that's massive. But I decide not to do that this game because I'm deciding to wait for 4, which is also completely fine. Now, the order of which I'm doing this is my Tech Labs finish, and I queue up 2 Banshees, and then I get the upgrades, and you want to try to get them at the same time because they literally take the exact same amount of time to finish. So there's that. And then you want to queue up 2 more Banshees. And you have the 4 Banshee timing, and when your 4 Banshees pop, you're going to have both of these upgrades, right? So I come in, and let's actually look how these Banshees go. Side note, remember how I said you want your opponent to stay at home? I'm using my leftover Hellion Reaper to scout for move outs, and maybe if he's taking a 3rd base on location. And I already have my 3rd base on the way, albeit it's later than his, but you know, I am taking a 3rd base this game. Now, let's just fast forward to when the Banshees are on the way. So they're coming. I'm hitting at about 6:05 here. And I just come on and immediately kill the Cyclone, which is massive. Notice how he only has 1 Raven. And I'm killing his SCVs, building stuff. No reason to fight the turrets. I shouldn't have even been shot there. And I'm killing SCVs. I don't need to target fire. I don't think so, at least. And the Banshees are just killing Marines. And is this the best move? I don't know. Probably the best move is to actually just ignore his units and go into the natural and kill more workers and maybe a tank. Fun fact, by the way, 4 Banshees, 3 shots a tank. So that is massive, and that's something that you do want to know when you're executing this build order. So there's that. But I'm killing Marines, and the reason why is because I'm afraid of him moving out. I don't want him to move out and kill me. Um, so that's what I'm doing. And honestly, I lose the Banshees, which I don't think it's worth it. And looking at this game, I think I would have just rather goed and went and killed SCVs, right? I think that that is the better option than trying to kill Marines. Now, Banshees do outrange Marines, but you have to be really good with the micro, which obviously I didn't do here because I lost all 4 of my Banshees to like auto turrets and Marines, which is not something that should happen. So that is a mistake. Now, at home. Like I said, I'm afraid of a move out, so I recommend going for a really fast second factory, of course after your third base. And one of the things you also need to be scared of is your opponent's Viking count. You don't want the Viking count to get out of control. So I like to throw down 2 more starports, which seems crazy, but I like to get 2 starports here. And the reason is because I want to have Viking production. And it'll be a lot easier to catch up in Vikings if I have 4 starports total making Vikings than if I just had 2. So I'm coming in with the Banshees trying to get some more damage, using my Reaper Hellion to scout moveouts, killing workers. I've killed 15, 16 workers here. I'm up about 10 workers, which is great. So, with just that, the Banshees were successful. And like I said, we're afraid of a move out. So now, I've changed my production. Or maybe I cancel these Banshees, maybe I let them finish. Although this is a questionable move. I would say you want to make Vikings at this point. If you feel like you got enough damage out of the Banshees, transition out of them. Because they're not going to scale well. He's going to have Vikings, and it's not going to look good. Now with that said, you're going to see how the Banshees, help in this fight. And you're going to see how he has a significant lack of Marines because I've been trading them for my Banshees, right? So you can also continue making Banshees. It's just I don't necessarily recommend it. Maybe you go up to 4 like I did max, or just 2. Kind of your choice. I don't know every single little intricacy about this build, but that's what I would say. So let's just watch how this fight goes. He's going to probably disable or interference matrix my tanks. And I'm thinking already that I have the 4 Banshee count, which is perfect for 3-shotting a tank. And I'm trying to navigate these Banshees around. So notice how I scan him and I go around. And I fight here. And I'm trying to get his tanks from the back. And I get them. And I defend. And I'm just really far ahead here. I'm up in workers. I have a 4th base. My opponent does not. He's slightly ahead in upgrades, and he has more infrastructure with bioproduction, but I have more like tech production, so I'd say infrastructure is probably equal. So that's it for the build order guide. Now, if this helps you out on ladder, cool. If you're just dying, maybe you should stop playing it. It is a demanding build to do. I know that it looks really fun, and it is really fun. But please be careful with this one. But I'm telling you, people are not going to be expecting this, and you're going to be out there with a new strategy that people are not seeing, and that gives you something to express yourself in this game. And if that calls to you, then go ahead and play this build. I don't recommend playing like twice in a row against the same opponent, but maybe you play standard TvT, and then you rematch someone on ladder, and you pull this build out. That's to your discretion. So, let me know if you have any questions about this build order. I am going to be making a standard Terran versus Terran build guide soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching, yo. And thank you to all of the people who are recommending me build orders and ideas. The reason I decided to make this video is because somebody recommended me to play 2 gas and talk about like different Reaper Hellions. So that is one of the reasons I decided to make this video. So have a nice day, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.